Hey guys, so this week we're going to take a look at polyrhythms where we will be using different clip lengths so that they all interact at different times to create more interesting and evolving sounds in your track so it doesn't sound so loopy and feel stagnant. So let's jump into Ableton and I can show you in a little bit more detail. Okay, so here I've got 6 sounds. I've got some drums, bass, a chord, lead, pad, and an arpeggiated sound. So basically what we're going to do is have different loop lengths for all of these different sounds. So let's take a look at this arp. So here we've got 5 notes and then another 5. So we've basically got 10 increments here, or 2.5 beats. So let's have a listen to see what that sounds like. Okay, so if we listen to that with the metronome, you can see how it interacts with the sort of 4 beat structure. So just to keep things working harmonically, I'm just going to stick to the same notes, which is a C minor pentatonic scale. So we've got C, D sharp, G, A sharp, and then back to C again. I'm just going to stick to those 5 notes in all of the different the musical clips that we're going to use. So on the chord here, I'm going to use just exactly the same notes. So I've just got the C, the G, and the A. Just got rid of the D and the C here. So this one will sound like this. Okay, so I'm going to use a different type of polyrhythm on this one because I'm not changing the notes there. It's just a held chord. Instead, I'm going to use a filter with an LFO on it just to kind of make the sound change over time, and it's not going to be on the grid. So if I just go and grab an auto filter from here. So I'm going to turn on the LFO, as you can see it there. And the rate, I don't want this synced to anything. I'm just going to make it nice and slow. Like that. I'm going to turn the resonance up a little bit just to kind of get a little bit more bite on there. Let's have a listen to see how that sounds. Okay, so we need to pull the frequency down a little bit so we can hear it. And the rate down so it evolves a little bit more slowly. Okay, so it's going to sound slightly different every time it's kind of on the sort of start of the 4-bar loop. So we can go a step further with that as well. And let's add a pan. So let's bring in the auto pan tremolo. And again, we want this nice and slow. So I'm going to pull this right down to here. What can we do? Time there. So there we go. Okay, so it's gradually panning around and then filtering as well. Okay, so let's do the same thing with this arp here. That'll move around a little bit, but I want to change the rate so they're not moving at the same time. So let's speed that one up slightly, and then if we play the two together, they should never be in the same stereo space at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing here with the, we've got a filter cutoff here on this arp. Okay, so let's add an LFO to that just to make that move a little bit as well. So we can just use the LFO tool from Ableton's audio effects. And then Let's just get the rate of that nice and slow. The depth, we don't want it to move too much, just so you can feel it a little bit. Just turn the offset up a little bit. So then if we map this to here, that's on the modulation. There we go. There we go. Okay. So I've got those two moving a little bit now. So next up I've got this lead here. So the lead, let's play that by itself so you can hear exactly what's happening with that. So that is 4 beats, 5 beats, and then 3 increments. So that's going to have a very unusual looping time. So if we listen to how this interacts with the ARP. Let's do the same thing with that and put an auto pan on there just to get it to move around a little bit. Change the time again. Let's make that slightly longer because it's a slower sound. So when you've got two things with very different time signatures there, you can easily get lost. If you keep listening to it, you can completely forget where the 1, 2, 3, 4 beat structure is. So at that point, you want to bring in some kind of anchor point, so something that's a little bit on the sort of normal, typical 4/4 structure. So that's where we would bring in something dominant like the bass line. On this bass, I've got a typical sort of 2-beat bass structure, 2-bar bass structure. So let's listen to this. Okay, so if we listen to the feels like it's starting to come together now. So then we've got this chord, which just comes in here, and then it's a bit more straightforward, this one. It's just 6 beats. So we listen, bring that one in as well. And then we've got a drum beat here as well. Okay, so if you wanted to set up some kind of structure with what we've got here, if you're doing this in the arrangement view, it's easy. You can just drag out the clips like this. So you could just drag it out for as far as you wanted it like that. Whereas if you're in the session view and you wanted to build scenes, so if I duplicated that, bit of that. So let's just say I duplicate that. So if I wanted to play that one, and then if I hit play on this, it's going to jump back to the start of the clip. So the way that we get around that to keep it sounding fluid and continuous, so we'll just start building some scenes from here. So we'll start with the ARP on this one, and then insert a scene, and then instead of pasting the ARP down here again, all we do is just remove the stop button. So then when I play this clip, so this scene, and then that scene, it just keeps playing from this clip. So on the next scene, let's add in this lead sound. Let's duplicate that and then add the pad. Let's get rid of that, delete the stop button. There we go. So then just sort of before the beat comes in on that bit, I'm just going to remove the pad. So you kind of, you get a little kind of pre-break warning, if you like, that something's going to happen. So if I add stop button there, so then from here, then maybe let's get rid of that lead as well. And then we can bring in the drums. Okay, so let's have a listen to that. Okay, I hope that brief overview of polyrhythms was useful. If you want to jump into any more depth with that or any of the other techniques that I've shown on these videos, then feel free to hit me up for some one-on-one coaching. See you next time.